Every successful cyber attack in history followed the same 5-step playbook. The Colonial Pipeline shutdown. The SolarWinds breach. The target hack. 5 phases, executed in order, every single time. The difference between those attackers and a penetration tester is one document, written authorization. This is Ethical Hacking Episode 1. The 5 phases, the mindset, and the rules that separate professionals from criminals. Learn this first, everything else in this series builds directly on it. Ethical hacking, also called penetration testing or pentesting, is the authorized, legal simulation of a real cyber attack. Organizations hire skilled security professionals to attack their own systems, find the vulnerabilities before criminals do, and deliver a written report of every finding. This is not theory. It is a real profession. Penetration testers work for Fortune 500 companies, government agencies, banks, and hospitals. Organizations that cannot afford to find out their security is broken from a headline. Pentesters operate under 3 models. Black box, you know nothing about the target, exactly as a real attacker would. White box, you get full access, credentials, architecture diagrams, source code. Gray box, somewhere in the middle. The model depends on what the client needs to learn. Here is the single most important rule in this entire series. You do not touch a system without written authorization. A signed contract specifying exactly which IP ranges, domains, and systems are in scope. What you are allowed to do, when, and from where. An emergency contact if something goes wrong. Without this document, you are committing a federal crime. With it, you are a professional doing your job. In the United States, the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, the CFAA, makes unauthorized computer access a federal crime with serious prison time. Identical laws exist in the UK under the Computer Misuse Act, across the European Union, Australia, and Canada. The critical word in every one of these laws is unauthorized. That word is everything. The authorization document is what changes hacking from a crime into a career. Now, the 5 phases. This is the framework every ethical hacker, every penetration testing firm, and every criminal follows. Learn these and you will understand the purpose of every tool this series covers, because every tool belongs to a phase. Phase 1, Reconnaissance. The goal is information gathering, and you do it before you ever touch the target systems. Who works there? What software they run? What domains they own? What ports are exposed to the internet? Passive recon means you never interact with the target directly. You use Google Dorking, LinkedIn, Shodan, WHOS records, public DNS data. The target has no idea you exist. Active recon means direct interaction, DNS queries, direct port probing, and it leaves traces. Episode 3 covers OSINT and passive recon in full. The principle is always the same, gather maximum intelligence before you act. Phase 2, Scanning and Enumeration. You take the intelligence from Phase 1 and map the attack surface in technical detail. Which ports are open? Which services are running? Apache February 4th, 49. OpenSSH 7.2. These version numbers matter, they map directly to known vulnerabilities. Tools like MAP are central here. Episode 4 goes deep on MAP, arguably the most powerful single tool in a pentester's toolkit. Enumeration takes it further, SMB shares, SNMP community strings, web directories, user accounts. You are looking for every unlocked door before you pick one. Phase 3, Exploitation. You have the map. Now you walk through the doors. Using the vulnerabilities you found in Phase 2, you attempt to breach the target. You might use a known CVE through Metasploit. You might manually craft a SQL injection payload. You might exploit a misconfigured web server or a service running with default credentials. Episode 7 covers Metasploit end-to-end, from finding a module to catching an interpreter shell. The concept is always the same, turn a vulnerability from theory into access. Phase 4, Post-Exploitation. You have a foothold. Now the real work begins. Privilege escalation, moving from a limited user account to administrator or root. Lateral movement, pivoting from one compromised machine to others on the same network. Credential harvesting, extracting password hashes that prove how far the blast radius actually extends. Persistence, maintaining access so the engagement can continue. Episodes 10 and 11 cover this in depth, including Active Directory attacks. What makes post-exploitation so alarming is how quickly one foothold becomes complete control of an entire network. Phase 5, Reporting. This is the phase most introductions skip, but it is what separates a professional from a script kiddie. Every vulnerability gets documented, the exact steps to reproduce it, its severity rating, critical, high, medium, or low, the business impact if a real attacker found it first, and specific remediation steps. A professional pentest report is not a list of bugs. It is a strategic document that helps an organization actually fix their security posture. Episode 12 of this series is dedicated entirely to writing professional reports. The 5 phases describe what you do. The mindset describes how you think. Ethical hackers think like attackers, not to cause harm, but because a defender who can only think defensively will always be one step behind. You have to ask, if I wanted to break this system right now, what would I do? Where is the weakest link? Is it the firewall, or is it the person at the help desk who will reset a password for anyone who sounds frustrated and official enough? Security is overwhelmingly a human problem. Phishing succeeds not because it is technically sophisticated, it succeeds because humans are trusting. Social engineering bypasses the best technical controls on the planet. Understanding the attacker's mindset means understanding that combination of technical and human vulnerability. That is what makes a great penetration tester. Let's map the phases to a real breach. The target hack in 2013. Phase 1, attackers ran reconnaissance on target's vendor ecosystem and found an HVAC company with network access. Phase 2, they scanned and mapped target's internal point of sale network. Phase 3, they exploited credentials stolen from that vendor and deployed Citadel malware. Phase 4, post-exploitation, they harvested 40 million credit card numbers over weeks. Phase 5, there was no reporting. There was no authorization. Same 5 phases, opposite sides of the law. A penetration tester following this exact framework would have found the vendor access before the criminals did. Here is what this series builds. Episode 2, Your Hacking Lab, Kali Linux, VirtualBox, and Vulnerable Virtual Machines. Episodes 3 through 6, Recon, Scanning, Enumeration, and Finding Vulnerabilities. Episodes 7 and 8, Metasploit and Web Application Attacks with Burp Suite. Episodes 9 through 11, Password Cracking, Privilege Escalation, and Active Directory Attacks. Episode 12, Wi-Fi Testing and Writing the Professional Report. Subscribe so you do not miss Episode 2. Drop a comment with which phase you are most focused on mastering. I will see you there.